There is a kind of power that does not announce itself. It does not shout or demand attention. It does not need to prove anything or convince anyone. It simply exists, steady, unmoved, complete in itself. And most people never discover it because they are moving too fast. They are caught up in the motion of their lives, in the constant doing and striving and reacting, and they never stop long enough to feel what is available in the absence of all that motion. They never learn what stillness can do, what it can reveal, what it can change. Welcome to the quiet path. This is a place where we step away from the noise and urgency of the world, where we sit with what is difficult, where we remember that true strength is not loud or forceful, but quiet and grounded. Here, we do not chase after answers or try to fix ourselves. We simply allow ourselves to be still, to notice, to return to what has always been beneath the surface of our busy lives. And today, we are looking at something that seems simple but is perhaps the most transformative practice you can undertake. We are looking at stillness, and what it changes when you finally allow it in. You know the feeling. That sense of being carried along by your own life, as if you are on a current that never stops, that pulls you from one thing to the next without pause. You wake up, and immediately the day begins to move you. There are tasks and obligations and people who need things from you. There are problems to solve and decisions to make and a constant stream of information demanding your attention. And you respond to all of it. You keep moving. You keep doing. Because that is what you have always done. Because stopping feels impossible. Because you believe that if you stop, everything will fall apart. But what if the opposite is true? What if the constant motion is what is keeping things fragmented? What if all that doing is preventing you from seeing clearly, from responding wisely, from accessing the part of yourself that actually knows what to do? What if stillness is not the absence of productivity, but the foundation of it? What if everything you are trying to accomplish would be easier, clearer, more effective if you simply stopped long enough to let yourself settle? In the old traditions of Japan, there is a deep respect for stillness. You see it in the tea ceremony, where every movement is deliberate and slow. You see it in the gardens, where space and emptiness are valued as much as what is planted. You see it in the practice of sitting meditation, where nothing is being accomplished and yet everything is being transformed. These practices understand something that our modern world has forgotten. They understand that stillness is not empty. It is not wasted time. It is the ground from which everything else arises. And when you neglect it, when you fill every moment with motion and noise, you lose your foundation. You lose your center, and everything becomes harder than it needs to be. Most people are afraid of stillness. They will not say this directly, but you can see it in how they live. In the way they reach for their phone the moment there is a pause. In the way they fill their schedules until there is no room left to breathe. In the way they keep the television on even when they are not watching it, just to have noise in the background. They are running from something. From the quiet, from what they might feel or think or remember if they stopped moving long enough to notice. And so they stay in motion, they stay busy. They convince themselves that this is what life requires. But it is not. It is what fear requires. And fear is a terrible guide. When you finally allow yourself to be still, the first thing you encounter is not peace, it is everything you have been avoiding. The restlessness, the anxiety, the uncomfortable feelings that you have been covering up with activity. Your mind does not simply quiet down, it gets louder. It fills with thoughts and worries and judgments. It tells you that you should be doing something, that you are wasting time, that something is wrong. And this is where most people turn back. They think stillness is not working. They think they are doing it wrong. But this is the process. This is what needs to happen. All of that noise was already there. You were just moving too fast to notice it. And now that you have stopped, it is showing itself to you, not to torment you, but to be released. If you can stay with it, if you can resist the urge to immediately fill the space again, something begins to shift. The thoughts start to slow. The urgency starts to fade. And underneath all of that mental noise, you begin to feel something else, a kind of ground, a steadiness that was there all along but was hidden beneath the constant motion of your mind. And this steadiness, this stillness is not something you create, it is something you discover. It is what you are when you are not caught up in your own thinking. When you are not identified with your worries or your plans or your stories about who you are and what your life should be. It is simply your natural state, And the more you return to it, the more you realize that this is what you have been looking for all along. Stillness changes how you see. When your mind is constantly moving, constantly reacting, you do not see things as they are. You see them through the filter of your thoughts, your assumptions, your fears. Someone says something and you immediately interpret it based on your past experiences. A problem arises and you panic before you even understand what is actually happening. You are living one step removed from reality, caught in your own mental commentary about life instead of experiencing life itself. But when you practice stillness, when you train yourself to pause before reacting, something shifts. You begin to see more clearly. You notice details you were missing. You recognize patterns you were blind to. You understand people more deeply because you are not projecting your own stories onto them. And this clarity changes everything. Because most of your suffering comes not from what is happening, but from your interpretation of what is happening. And stillness lets you see the difference. Stillness changes how you respond. Most people live in a state of constant reaction. Something happens and they immediately respond, based on habit, on emotion, on whatever their mind throws up in that moment. They do not choose their response. It simply happens. And then they wonder why their relationships are difficult, why they keep making the same mistakes, why they feel so out of control. But when you practice stillness, you create space between the stimulus and the response. Something happens, and instead of immediately reacting, you pause, you breathe, you feel what is present without being overwhelmed by it. And from that space, you can choose. You can respond from wisdom instead of impulse, from clarity instead of confusion, from your deepest values instead of your most immediate emotions. And this changes not just individual moments, but the entire trajectory of your life. Stillness changes how you relate to difficulty. When something painful happens, the immediate impulse is to fix it, to escape it, to make it go away as quickly as possible. And so you distract yourself. You rationalize. You numb. You do anything except simply be with what is difficult. But this does not make the difficulty go away. It only pushes it deeper, where it continues to affect you in ways you cannot see. Stillness teaches you a different approach. It teaches you that you can be with pain without being destroyed by it. That you can sit with uncertainty without needing to resolve it immediately. That you can hold difficulty with a kind of gentle attention that does not make it worse. And when you learn this, when you discover that you are capable of being present with whatever arises, you become unshakable. Not because nothing bothers you, but because you know you can handle what comes. You have practiced it in stillness, and that practice changes everything. Think about water. When it is agitated, when it is constantly being stirred, you cannot see through it. Everything is murky and unclear. But when it is allowed to settle, when nothing is disturbing it, it becomes transparent. You can see all the way to the bottom. Your mind is like this. When it is constantly in motion, constantly being pulled in different directions, you cannot see clearly. Your thoughts cloud everything. But when you practice stillness, when you allow your mind to settle, clarity emerges naturally. You do not have to force it or figure it out. You just have to stop stirring the water. You just have to be still. Most people believe they do not have time for stillness. They look at their schedules and see no room for it. They have responsibilities, obligations, people depending on them. How can they possibly sit and do nothing when there is so much that needs to be done? But this is backwards. Stillness is not something you do after everything else is handled. It is what allows you to handle everything else. It is what gives you the clarity to see what actually needs your attention and what is just noise. It is what gives you the energy to sustain your efforts without burning out. It is what allows you to be present with the people you love instead of being physically there but mentally elsewhere. The question is not whether you can afford to practice stillness. The question is whether you can afford not to. You do not need hours. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need to go on a retreat or learn complicated techniques. You simply need to stop, right where you are, for a few minutes, for a few breaths. You can do this in the morning before the day begins. You can do this in your car before you walk into work. You can do this in the middle of a difficult day when you feel yourself starting to spiral. You can sit. You can close your eyes. You can feel your breath moving in and out of your body. And you can just be there, not trying to change anything, not trying to feel a certain way, just being present with whatever is here. And if you do this regularly, If you make it a practice instead of an occasional event, you will begin to notice changes. Small at first, but profound. You will notice that you do not get swept away by your emotions as easily, that you can feel anger or fear or sadness without being controlled by them. You will notice that you do not take things as personally, that you can hear criticism or face rejection without it destroying you. You will notice that you are less reactive in your relationships, that you can listen more deeply because you are not so caught up in your own thoughts. You will notice that you make better decisions because you are not deciding from a place of anxiety or urgency. You will notice that you have more energy because you are not wasting it on useless worry and mental chatter. You will notice that life feels less overwhelming because you are not trying to handle everything at once. You are simply here, in this moment, dealing with what is actually in front of you. Stillness is not about escaping life. It is not about withdrawing or becoming passive. It is about engaging with life more fully, more consciously, from a place of groundedness instead of reactivity, from a place of clarity instead of confusion. The stillness you cultivate in quiet moments becomes the foundation you stand on in difficult moments. It becomes the center you return to when everything around you is chaotic, and the more you practice, the stronger this foundation becomes. Until you reach a point where nothing can knock you off balance for long, not because nothing affects you, but because you know how to return to stillness. You know how to find your ground again. There is a teaching in the old traditions that speaks of being like a mountain. The weather changes constantly. Rain comes, wind blows, storms rage, but the mountain remains. It does not react to every change in conditions. It simply is, steady, unmoving, present. And this is what stillness cultivates in you. Not rigidity, not coldness, but a kind of groundedness that allows you to weather whatever comes without losing yourself in it. You can feel deeply and still remain centered. You can care about outcomes and still not be attached to them. You can engage fully with life and still maintain your inner quiet. Most people live their entire lives at the surface. They are tossed around by circumstances, by other people's opinions, by their own changing moods and desires, and they suffer because of this. Because the surface is always turbulent. It is always changing. It offers no rest, but beneath the surface, there is depth. There is stillness. There is a part of you that is not affected by the constant movement of your life, and you can access this. Not by transcending your life or escaping from it, but by going deeper into your own being. By practicing stillness until you discover what has always been still within you. When you live from this place, everything changes, not because your circumstances change, though they might, not because your problems disappear, though some will, but because your relationship to everything changes. You are no longer at the mercy of whatever is happening. You have found something in yourself that cannot be disturbed, and from that place, you can face anything. You can handle difficulty with grace. You can meet uncertainty with calm. You can experience loss without being destroyed. You can love deeply without being afraid of pain. Because you know that no matter what happens on the surface, you have a depth that remains untouched. You have stillness, and stillness changes everything. The practice is simple but not easy. It requires you to go against every conditioning you have received. It requires you to value something that the world does not value. To choose quiet in a culture of noise, to choose presence in a culture of distraction, to choose depth in a culture of surface, and you will feel the pull to abandon it, to go back to the way things were, to fill your life with motion again because at least motion feels familiar. But if you persist, if you keep returning to stillness even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it seems like nothing is happening, you will discover something that no one can take from you. You will discover a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a strength that does not depend on control, a clarity that does not depend on having all the answers. You will discover what it means to be grounded in yourself, and nothing is more valuable than this. So begin today, not tomorrow, not when you have more time. Now, in this moment, stop reading these words and simply be still. Feel your body. Notice your breath. Let your mind do whatever it does without trying to control it. Just be here for a few moments, and then do it again tomorrow. And the day after that, make it part of your life, not as another task to accomplish, not as something you do to become a better person, but as a return to what you have always been beneath all the noise and motion. A return to stillness, and let that stillness change you. Let it change how you see, how you respond, how you live, because it will, if you let it. If you found something here that speaks to you, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to The Quiet Path. Not out of obligation, but because this space exists for those seeking something quieter, something deeper than what the world typically offers. And perhaps what helped you today will help someone else tomorrow. This is simply about creating a place where stillness is remembered, where calm strength is honored, where people can rest from the constant motion and remember what it feels like to simply be. Walk slowly, see clearly. I'll see you again on The Quiet Path.